Hi everybody, Dan Stolebarger, KFIR, Middle East Update, July 5th. Hey, got tons of information. Make sure you go to our website. I don't know if I can fit all this in 10 minutes, but the PDF PowerPoint will be available with all the information at our website, holygroundexplorations.com. Got to jump right into this week's presentation. It is July 5th, as I mentioned. Always begin with my musings. You know, my wife asked me yesterday how close I thought we were to the end. And I was just putting this presentation together, and as you can see, it's one thing after another. And we have this huge earthquake in California. But specifically, as I honed in on her question, I think I probably gave her a blank stare. But think about the things that are transpiring. Think about Iran right now. Trump just responded that Iran has issued a new warning. Rouhani says that they will enrich uranium to, quote, any amount we want. If there's no nuclear deal and Trump comes back to say, be careful with threats, Iran, they can come back to bite you like nobody has ever been bitten before. You know, when you think about it, my response back to my wife's question, all I could say to her was, it just appears to me that all the pieces of the, quote, end-time chessboard are now all on the table. In fact, the game has actually begun. And so stay tuned, KFIR. Be alert. Be vigilant. And just like the sons of Issachar, understand the times and know what we should be doing. Well, let me fill in some of these other things that caused that response of mine. It's unclear whether the Bahrain conference will ultimately lead to a successful outcome. But here's one thing that it did do. It helped further a U.S. goal, bringing together its Israeli and Gulf Arab allies in what could be a strategic realignment of the Middle East. There's going to be so much information. These news bites are just sort of pow, 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 pow. So it's not necessarily all connected to one another. I found it interesting that, again, complete new subject, because we've just gone through all of these gay pride parades and LGBT and all of that sort of thing. And last time we were in Israel, we saw that there was, the gay parade in Tel Aviv, which, all of Tel Aviv is blanketed in rainbow flags and all that. And then to think of a parade like this in Jerusalem just always just shakes me to my core, wondering what the heart of God feels. Now, don't get me wrong. When it comes to this subject, I'm very simplistic. Hate the sin, but love the sinner, okay? I don't think it's an unforgivable sin. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. But on the other hand, we can't pretend that everything's okay and we should just accept all of this. That's my 2 cents worth. But what I did find interesting is that in Israel, there was another parade. It's an absolute first, and it's called the Straight Pride March. It's also been branded the Family March. It kicked off in the Neve Sha'anan neighborhood of Haifa, went without a hitch, and the main goal is to stress the importance of the traditional family in light of an active anti-family agenda from the LGBT lobby. I can get behind that. A traditional family parade. Instead of complaining about the others, maybe we should motivate ourselves and get out and make the same proclamation. Okay, let's keep going. Israel's preparing for war. Tuesday, Foreign Minister Israel Katz says that Israel is building up its military in preparation for a possible war in the region due to the rising tensions between the U.S. and Iran. Keep in mind, Iran is basically says, America, if you mess with us, if you do anything, we're going to wipe Israel out. And it's going to take us about 30 minutes to do that. Be careful. One of the things that we know about Israel is there's a red line, there's a gray line, everything that's taking place sort of in Syria right now, these Israeli airstrikes, there's information in this presentation about those. All of that sort of gray line. They're going to take out munition depots. They're going to take out different things that they're saying, you're not going to establish a front on the Golan border, or we're going to go into Gaza. We're going to take care of some transports that we know of that are transporting missiles and etc. into Gaza. All of that's sort of done under the radar, sort of in a gray zone, but there is a red zone. And the foreign minister basically said, don't mistake the Iranian regime, because they're likely to bring about a shift in regards to the gray zone to the red zone. And he goes on to say, we must be prepared for this. Thus, the state of Israel continues to devote itself to building up its military might for the event that we will have to respond to different escalation scenarios. And the one thing I remember is that whether it's a preemptive strike like in Iraq, we had a problem with Obama with our so-called red lines, whether they were pink or whether they dissolved invisible ink or whatever, but we had no problems retreating from our red lines. Don't make the mistake. Israel will not. Well, Iranian enrichment, I thought I'd just, you can read this article for yourself, but basically, here's the bottom line. Rouhani's basically saying that they're going to go beyond the 3.67% limit that was agreed to under the former deal. To reach weapons grade levels, uranium must be enriched to over 90%. But due to the nature of the enrichment process, once Iran reaches a 20% purity, it's a relatively short jump to reach the 90% enrichment needed for a nuclear bomb. So they are going to be very, very, very close. And keep in mind that red line, Israel knows that. An article about the U.S. deploying F-22 Raptors stealth fighter jets to the Qatar for the very first time. We're building up our military presence in the Middle East. Make no mistake about it. Back to Israel in these gray lines. There's an article here about Syria strikes. At least 16 people were killed in a series of strikes on military targets in Damascus last Sunday. The Arab media outlets reported this on Monday morning. The strikes were attributed to Israel, but the IDF has declined to comment. No big surprise there, but Israel will not allow an Iranian presence in Syria, especially close to the Golan border. Make no mistake, that's a red line. Pay for slay. I don't have the time to go through all the details here, but I saw this image on Palestinian Media Watch, and I thought, gosh, people need to look at this and see what we're talking about. Here is the payout that's given for the murder of a 13-year-old Israeli girl who was asleep in bed 3 years ago. Take a look and how much money has already been given to this person that they call a martyr, and we have to call what? A butcher, to kill an Israeli girl in her sleep. There's an article from Sharon Gal talking about the situation where even Arabs are getting kind of fed up with the situation with the Palestinians. Again, with the billions of dollars that have been given, he simply asks the question, has one school been established? A hospital? Anything to help create a productive and flourishing society? No. Instead, all of this money that has been given, the Palestinian Arab leadership has taken this money to invest in what? Continued terrorism. There's an article from on the Facebook Fatah page that I think is important for you to read. It was posted on June 26, 2019. There's an article about desalinization. Interesting that it looks as if there's plans to pump desalinized water into the Sea of Galilee that might open diplomatic floodgates to be able to share more water to other countries. The Pilgrim's Road, for all of you that have been to Israel, you know what it's like to go from the southern steps, the city of David, down to the Pool of Siloam. But last Sunday, the city of David hosted the event that opened the underground Pilgrim Road, the road that the processional would have taken place from the temple down to the Pool of Siloam. Check out the pictures and the articles with that. Last thing, I'm out of time. Christian and Jews, it's interesting. The rift between Jews and Christians seem to be healing perhaps faster than many expected. We've had a horrible history between us, but it's nothing short of a miracle to hear Israel's prime minister refer now to evangelical Christians as, quote, Israel's best friend. Many Jewish organizations now have Christian Friends departments, including the unthinkable, the Christian Friends of Yad Vashem. So you put all of this stuff together, whether it's the Iranian situation, whether it's the situation in Syria, whether you see Christians now standing up, being united with Israel, whether all of this stuff combined gives you sort of the rationale behind my statement when I say, I don't know, honey, but I'll tell you what, the entire chessboard's on the table, and I think it's all the game has begun. So be alert, be vigilant, stay connected, share this with your friends, get them to sign up with the KFIR global community as well. We need to be like the sons of Issachar to understand the times. We need to be proficient with the Word of God, studying to show ourselves approved, and we must be a community of prayer because that's what makes all the difference. That's it. I'm out of time. God bless and Shabbat Shalom.